Have you ever noticed that the word yes sometimes feels more like a reflex than a conscious choice? Your phone lights up with a favor you do not have the energy for, or a coworker asks you to take on a project you desperately need to decline. Before your brain can even process the exhaustion settling into your bones, your mouth has already formed the words. Of course. What is? Oh, no problem. Shh. I can handle that. You hit send, and your chest tightens immediately. You are irritated at them for asking, but underneath that, you are quietly angry at yourself for agreeing yet again. We tell ourselves we are just being kind. We pride ourselves on being the reliable one who never causes friction. But there is a very sharp, painful difference between choosing to be generous and feeling like you are simply not allowed to say no. If you are exhausted by your own endless accommodating, you are not alone. You are stuck in what psychology often calls the nice person trap, and it is a lonely, depleting place to live. This trap is built on a quiet, invisible contract you made with the world a very long time ago. If I am perfectly helpful, if I demand nothing, if I smooth over every rough edge for everyone else, then I will be safe. I will be valued and never abandoned. But the reality is far more punishing. Being too nice does not buy you genuine respect or deep love. It often just buys you an endless line of people who are more than willing to outsource their emotional baggage onto your shoulders. I remember a time when this trap almost broke me. I had a friend who was moving to a new apartment. They asked for help, and even though I was coming off an exhausting week and running on fumes, I smiled and said yes. Not just yes to carrying boxes, but to staying up until 3 a.m, scrubbing floors and packing their kitchen while they sat scrolling on their phone, complaining about their stress. I drove home in the dead of night, my hands aching, telling myself I was just being a loyal friend. The next morning I woke up, opened my phone, and saw their story. They were at a sunny brunch with other friends, clinking glasses, looking perfectly rested. I was lying in bed, too physically drained to even make breakfast. That moment was not just frustrating, it felt like a cold stone dropping into my stomach. I realized I was pouring my absolute last drop of water into their cup, and they did not even notice I was dying of thirst. To understand why we stay in this painful dynamic, we have to look at the psychology of chronic people-pleasing. It rarely comes from a place of pure, selfless virtue. It is a defense mechanism. It is a survival strategy, usually learned early in life. You learned that being difficult meant being disconnected. You learned that the people around you could not handle your needs, your boundaries, or your anger. So, you amputated those parts of yourself. You decided that your worth would equal your usefulness. The underlying fear is simple: if I am not useful to you, why would you keep me around? We become terrified that any assertion of our own needs will cause the people we care about to leave. The emotional cost of this, over time, is monumental. It builds a slow, toxic resentment that sits constantly in the back of your throat. You start to view relationships as ledgers where you are perpetually in the red. You rearrange your entire weekend schedule because an acquaintance vaguely texted, "We should catch up sometime," and you panicked at the thought of them feeling ignored. You sit in the passenger seat of your own life, letting everyone else fight over the steering wheel, while you just stare out the window, quietly hoping someone, anyone, notices how tired you are. Here is the harshest truth about this dynamic. When you broadcast to the world that you will absorb any discomfort to keep the peace, you become a magnet for a very specific type of behavior, passive aggression. People who are unwilling to regulate their own emotions realize they can safely offload their irritation onto you because they know you will not fight back. Think about a coworker who walks by your desk when you finally finish a difficult, stressful project. Instead of congratulating you, they smirk, sigh, and say, "Oh, finally finished." You swallow the insult, smile weakly, and even apologize. You absorb their poison so they do not have to hold it. But I want you to hear this clearly and let it settle into your chest. Your inability to defend yourself in these moments is not a character flaw. It does not mean you are weak or pathetic. You have a highly attuned, highly sensitive nervous system that is desperately trying to keep you safe from the perceived danger of conflict. Your brain is running an outdated software program that says their anger equals your abandonment. You are just trying to survive the only way your body knows how. You are trying to buy love with compliance. But compliance only buys convenience for the other person. It never buys genuine intimacy. True connection requires two whole people. And right now, you are only letting them see the half of you that serves them. So, how do we begin to break this cycle? How do we start reclaiming our space without swinging the pendulum all the way into anger or isolation? We start incredibly small. We start with the micro moments of friction. Let us go back to that passive-aggressive coworker who said, "Oh, finally finished." The new approach is not to argue, and it is not to stay silent. It is to simply name the behavior and ask for clarity, without a single drop of defensiveness in your voice. You look them in the eye, keep your tone completely flat and calm, and ask, "What do you mean by that?" You do not attack. You do not explain how hard you worked. You just hand the uncomfortable social moment right back to them. Passive aggression relies entirely on your silence to function. When you calmly force them to explain their subtle insult out loud, the power dynamic instantly collapses. You are no longer a safe target for their unmanaged emotions. Next, we have to rethink how we use the word no. We treat no like a live grenade. We believe that if we drop it, it will destroy the relationship entirely. So when we try to decline something, we pad it in thick layers of bubble wrap. We say, "I am so sorry. I feel terrible about this. My head hurts and I wish I could be there." Over-explaining is just another form of pleading for permission to exist. A boundary is not a negotiation. Practice the short boundary. Say, "I will not be able to make it this time, but I hope you have a great event." Then stay silent. Let the silence hang there in the air. You do not owe anyone an itemized receipt of your time. If the short boundary feels too terrifying right now, use a boundary combined with an alternative. This preserves the connection while still protecting your energy. Let us say that same friend asks you to help them move again. You do not have to vanish entirely, but you do not have to give them your soul either. You say, "I cannot do the whole weekend, but I can come by for 2 hours on Saturday morning to help with the heavy boxes." You are clearly defining exactly what you have to give and fiercely protecting what you must keep for yourself. I remember the very first time I used a firm, short boundary. I was terrified. My heart was pounding against my ribs, and my hands were actually shaking as I hit send on a text saying I could not cover someone's shift. I sat there waiting for the explosion. I waited for them to call me selfish and end the friendship. And do you know what happened? A few minutes later, they replied, "No worries, jonks anyway." That was it. The sky did not fall. The earth did not split open. I was left alone staring at my screen, realizing the prison I had been living in had an unlocked door all along. Stepping out of the nice person trap is deeply uncomfortable at first. You will feel guilty. You will feel like you are doing something terribly wrong, because your body is so accustomed to carrying everyone else's weight that standing up straight feels completely unnatural. Let the guilt be there. Guilt is just the ghost of an old rule you are finally breaking. It is the growing pain of your self-respect stretching its legs. You are allowed to be tired. You are allowed to be unavailable. You are allowed to have limits and flaws and a life that belongs entirely to you. You do not have to pay rent in your relationships by being endlessly useful to the people around you. The next time someone asks for a piece of your peace, take a deep breath. Feel your feet solid on the floor. And remember that the most beautiful, authentic connections happen not when you say yes to everything, but when your yes is a true choice and your no is a complete sentence.